Hey,
Hey, everybody.
welcome everybody. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. Welcome to the Oddcast podcast.
Off the record.
I, of course, am Blackie.
I'm Erica.
Thanks for coming back. Or if you're new here, thank you for that too.
Welcome.
Yeah. Hope everybody's had a great weekend. I know we have.
Yes.
Housework.
I've had 2 days off in a row, so that's nice.
Yeah. We did some roof work. We did some lawn mowing, all kinds of things to get ready for what rain they're saying we might get, which we haven't had any. So kind of in a drought here in the old Middle Tennessee area. Let's see who's all here. Oh, let me put it over here on chat so we can see who's here. Hey everybody, how you doing? Let's see who's in chat here. Let's say hi to
Misty.
Misty. Hey Misty. Blackie. Hey, me.
Sharon.
Erica. All right.
Mac.
Mr. Mac McManus. It's good to see everybody here. Patrick.
Hey, Patrick.
We thank you again for being here.
Mm-hmm.
When we started this show, we wanted to be different. We didn't want to be like all the other shows we were watching. And I watch a lot of different styles of shows, but we wanted to be somebody, the type of show where we could talk about anything, whether it be, some of our past shows on climate change, weather manipulation, different things like that. We just kind of wanted to be a little bit basically what was going on at the time. We wanted to talk about it. And today's topic is no different. It's a little bit different than what we're used to. I think we don't really talk about what we're going to talk about, but we're going to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's something we all can learn from. I know me reading through some of the stuff and having lived with this in a previous relationship, it's something that's definitely to keep an eye out for. It's in every industry. It's in every, from sports to politics to religion.
Every walk of life.
And once again, I'm going to turn this over to, not once again, but this time I'm turning it over to my lovely bride, Erica.
We will both be discussing this. Hey, Brian, welcome.
Welcome, Brian.
Well, we actually both have, unfortunately, we've been in relationships with narcissists. So we'll be talking a lot about that. We're going to give an overall, definition and some things to look out for. But also, I'll be discussing a video that I've watched recently that really opened my eyes on this. So I just want to say neither of us are trained professionals.
Do I look? Yeah.
We're not in the mental health industry.
I've been a part of it.
But
Anyway.
We're speaking as patients, if you want to say. Okay. And thank you for being here. And we definitely, we don't want anybody uncomfortable. So if you need to go.
Why don't you give them the name of let them know what it is. So
we're mainly talking about narcissism. But our episode topic is called Ego Trip. And so if anybody, we don't want anybody uncomfortable. So, I hope that we don't, please leave if we don't want you uncomfortable. But we're glad that you're here. So also thank you to our moderators. We do appreciate you. And I personally want to say this weekend, happy birthday to my dad and happy heavenly birthday to my mom. So, and then as far as what we've been through, we'll kind of talk a little bit about what we're discussing tonight, how we've been involved and how it's affected us, and feel free to chime in chat if there's anything, that seems important to you or whatever. I also want to tell you, most of you probably already know, but 25 years ago, I had a traumatic brain injury. And so I feel like that's kind of appropriate to discuss whenever it comes to this topic. But I was ejected from a vehicle at a very high rate of speed. So that's how I obtained my traumatic brain injury. So, but I think it might play a part in this episode too. And real quick, before we get into like a definition, I just wanted to say that last evening we watched the movie Sling Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Chad had not seen that movie, but I felt like it offered a character that would be appropriate for this topic. So,
Dwight Yoakam's character?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of you, if not most of you, have seen the movie Sling Blade.
It's a really good movie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, horrible.
Okay.
Anyway, we're also going to discuss it through different, not just in relationship wise, but through like social media, the church, all different aspects of it. So we're not just going to talk about one topic. We're going to hit them all and kind of things to look for. And, and we'll get into it a little bit more, but
Michael X has joined us. Hey there. Okay. So the Oxford Dictionary definition of narcissism is excessive interest in or admiration of oneself and one's physical appearance. And a little deeper would be the WebMD. Narcissism is described as for narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonably high sense of their own importance. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. And that definitely goes along more with what we'll be discussing.
And I'm sure we've all known these types of people for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in your life.
And it's very damaging. Okay. Do you want to start on your...
Well, I can. I mean, you want this one here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, when we talk about narcissism, there's many different things you can look at. And I wrote down 10, or I copied 10 that really stuck out to me. And the first one was the lack of empathy. A narcissist doesn't care about anybody but themselves. And you'll be able to tell a narcissist online because they'll talk about themselves. They won't let you, what you say doesn't matter. You'll meet the person out. They'll say, that you can't get a word in edgewise on them when you're talking about stuff. They also have a need for admiration. And you see that a lot in the social media. People that feel they have to be adored and they're the ones, they're the best, see that in sports as well. And it gets, I can bring up a particular player. I don't watch the WNBA. I'm not a basketball person, and B, I'm not a basketball person. But Angel Reese, Kobe Bryant, you can look at all these different athletes, but it's them saying that they're the best ever. I'm the greatest ever. That is a form of narcissism. They might be very good at their sport. I'm not one to judge because I am not a basketball player, but to brag about it, that is something that narcissists do.
And what we're talking about is not just self-confidence, a reasonable amount.
Sure.
That's not what we're discussing. It's
We're
a very heightened, or there can never be enough. Like, they are so good, there can never be enough compliments for them.
Right. I mean, every athlete has typically got some narcissism in them because they want to be the best. So they try hard, they lift weights, they do all that stuff, and they brag about it. Another one would be sense of entitlement. We've seen that in a lot of videos we've watched lately, in fast food restaurants or giant department stores or police videos we watch where people feel they've been, getting pulled over for a traffic ticket and they feel that they don't deserve it and that they're, anyway. Manipulative behavior. That was one that I experienced quite a bit in a past relationship. It's just, they play you certain ways to get you to do certain things and say, which I'm sure she'll get into more, but they'll tear you apart and then pick you back up to make you think that, they still care.
Yeah, like in the movie last night, he was tearing the family apart, and saying, name calling, very disrespectful, over and over. Oh, I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. I don't mean that.
Heard that a lot. I also would be hoarding conversations. And that's one I've run into many times, trying to carry on a conversation, especially in the political atmosphere we're in, and trying to carry on a decent conversation with people, and they just come at you and come at you and come at you. And it's not just that. I've been in normal conversations where you just can't get a word in edgewise.
Yeah, it's to the point where it's not even a conversation anymore. It's just them trying to possess and them trying to keep you out, like your opinion out,
The exaggerated sense of self-importance. You've always had that person that you've talked to that's done stuff better than you or bigger than you.
One-upper.
A one-upper. That's a perfect definition. The one-upper. We've all run into that.
Mm-hmm.
And at points that I look back at my life, and maybe I've done that before with sports. Maybe, I don't know. I was here. I guess I'm going to say I was a very good athlete growing up. I had lots of achievements. But I always bring back to reality that here I am. I'm not on the ice anymore. I'm not, professional baseball player or stuff like that.
But still, when you were in that role, you acknowledged when other people had achievements too.
Yes, definitely. When there were a lot of people better than me at everything. Arrogance, we've all experienced that with people, the arrogance, from them thinking they're better than you and doing things better than you. Difficulty handling criticism. We've definitely all run into that. In every community, you run into that. Some people can't take criticism. I like to be a better person. So if somebody critiques me, I'm okay with that. That helps me be a better person. And that's what I want to be. Isolation of others. When you leave people out, you try to distance yourself from your partners, somebody you're in love with, but you choose to go out with your buddies all the time because they're more important than, it's just different ways. And the last one I've got is exploiting relationships. When people take advantage of other people for relationship gains, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's probably something you went through as well. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the 10 things I picked up on narcissism. They all come in greater, from maybe somebody not being as narcissistic, maybe they're just expressing their opinion, to somebody that is nonstop a narcissist, which would be, a clinical narcissist. But anyway, now to you, and you.
So let's see your other.
Oh, I've just got.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll go ahead and go.
Oh, okay.
We'll do those, and then mine's more like a.
You got it. So, with the social media.
Real quick, sorry. Oh. Roger's here. Hey, Roger. And Milkman. He said that he's finishing up his evening. So welcome,
cool.
You two.
Cool. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for everybody being here. Mm-hmm. So the social media, which we're all on social media. We all have Facebook pages. We're all on YouTube. We go follow all these different people. Thank you for being here anyway. Anyway, but there's different things that a lot of people are seeking in social media. One of the ones that I bring up are like Instagram girls or Instagram guys, people that want to get Instagram famous.
How about OnlyFans?
OnlyFans, guys and girls wanting to be famous for their body. And that's basically all it is. There's so many different styles. I'm going to go through some of them here. But like TikTok, TikTok rules the world right now. I know a lot of you guys have TikTok. I personally don't have TikTok.
Me either.
I've seen some cool videos on TikTok, and there's times with us having a podcast that I've thought maybe I could pull stuff off of TikTok. But then I thought to myself, I don't want to get to that point. I'm kind of getting to be a anti-social media, even though I'm on social media, because I think some social media like Instagram to a point, the influencers, even the political influencers, and uh, are all putting a bad name for a lot of things. They're aiming you in a certain direction when we all have a brain to use. I'm sorry, I'm not doing my job.
No, you're good.
When we all have a certain, we have our own mindset and how to do things. And instead of letting people influence us, we should be, the ones saying what we want to say. And that's kind of why we're here, you might not agree with 99% of the stuff I say, but you keep coming back to listen. And I'm hoping we can get the word out on different things. Twitter is another one. I am on Twitter. I do jump into the Twitter realm every once in a while with some comments. Most of the time they're not good ones. That's kind of where I get my my frustrations out, I guess it would be, is to go to Twitter and hop on there. Facebook is another one. I think most of us are on Facebook. I with this page and my private page, I kind of keep them separate. This page is mostly memes to kind of get a point across of everything that we talk about. My page is family stuff, my patriotism, stuff like that. So it's not as bad as like a lot of people with their Facebook influencing. But with the narcissism, it's people selfie after selfie after selfie after selfie, wanting that recognition of how attractive they are. And some people might need that. They might, I've always said that Facebook or social media is my psychologist at times.
But when it comes across as it's never enough, that's when it appears to be, or in my opinion, that would be a red flag.
One of the things is in our industry, this industry, and I noticed this with the cryptid community, is most of the people I know in the cryptid community are ones that just want to have their show out there. They just want people to watch it. They're not out there to call people liars or anything else. But that seems to be a part of this industry, is that people come in and call you a liar. You never did this. You never saw that. And that doesn't need to happen, but it does. And the shadow is right in my face.
I know. I've been living this for about 15 minutes now.
You also have like fitness and alpha influencers, the guys that go to the gym and, the girls that go there and they put the cameras in there and, they're looking for that. A, they're looking for money, but B, they're looking for you to say, wow, you look fantastic. You look great. They're looking for that, and if you disagree with them, like you look a little, let's say you're mean and you say you look a little chubby, they'll come at you and be like, oh, you can't say things like that. And you'll get jumped by the rest of their fans. And
I have to say, having been a member of a gym in the past, that would be so obnoxious. If people were filming themselves, it was already hard enough for people like gawking in the mirror, when you were trying to do a workout. And I'm not even saying I was looking in the mirror, but people already, even before social media that way, they were just like so focused on themselves in the mirror. It was like a distraction. But now when I see those videos, that I hope that's actually a regulation against most gyms, that because it's distracting. Like, you go to the gym for a reason, and usually most people don't have a lot of time to spend there. That's just me going off on that. But here, first off, Dog has joined us.
Hey, Dog.
Hey, Dog. And then Mac said, sad part of half that stuff on TikTok too is that kids and children look up to so much of that bad influence. And it is very sad because a lot of them don't know any different, or, we did not grow up that way. And that's a normal thing for them. A lot of young kids.
Well, and I'll say a big part of the problem with that is a lot of parents nowadays sit their kids in front of the TV or give them their phone or a tablet, and they let them go to these places. And that's how the kid's raised. Some people need validation a little too much. That's very true, Michael X. Very true.
Some people don't realize that it's okay to lose. You can't win everything is the reality of it.
And some of the other ones were like, wow, I lost my paper. I'm gonna keep shuffling through this stuff. But with social media too, is the, I mentioned the selfie culture. There's also some psychological implications with it. Is like the need for admiration could lead to feelings of rejection or shame when you don't get that admiration. And we should never let social media be what makes us who we are. But a lot of people live that way. And you see that more and more as life is progressing here. Unfortunately, I spend a lot of time on social media because I use that to learn what's going on in the world, the things that we're not hearing from our government, or the things we're not hearing on media. And I use social media, but I see so much of this. I see so much of the entitlement and all of that. And it's to a point where it's driving me, not me crazy, like literally, I'm like, we're having problems in our relationship. It's just with society. Then I come out and I sit on our front porch and enjoy the view, take a deep breath, and say to her, what's going on with the world today? Why are we seeing what we're seeing? Now, I'm going to talk about one more for sure. And it's something we all can agree with. And that is narcissism. I hope nobody gets mad at this, but narcissism in the church. And the reason I bring this up is most of us go to church. I can't say I picked a church yet, but most of us go to church, and we pick our church by the congregation, the pastor, and how they handle everything. I was part of a Church of the Brethren when I was in Dayton, and the pastor was amazing. When he read from the Bible, he made it like stories, and it was like really kept you enthralled. I can remember as a kid, always wanting to fall asleep because nothing interested me there. But in the churches nowadays, and I'm going to say the mega churches, you have certain people in these mega churches that think they are holier than thou, that they are directly here because of somebody telling them they needed to be here. Send me your paycheck. I'll make sure you get to heaven. Those types of people, because they are only in it for one reason. They're not really in it for the reason they're supposed to be in. So that's very narcissistic behavior. And that's something you don't need to do or go to see when you are, going just to, church. That doesn't need to be happening there. And I can go through a whole bunch and as far as the church traits, but I think most of you understand what it is. And you probably have experienced it. I know one of the things we always talked about were people that judged other people by the clothes they wore, and he said, she said stuff, and we don't dig that. We don't really, not fans of things like that.
There are multiple reasons why we don't attend church, but we definitely support a lot of people that do, and support their own opinions and their own feelings. But I have personally had interactions with someone who has attended church regularly, and personal interactions that were related to this topic today. And from what I've gathered, their dedication to church is more or less a social or notoriety. I go to this church.
Yeah, and that's
and it's like, I know that's another reason I don't go to church.
And that should never ever be that way, in anything. I mean, you should never go somewhere because it's the cool place to go. I just feel that if you're going to church, you're going there for a reason.
I feel it should feel more accepting than that.
Absolutely.
There shouldn't be a lot of hurdles that you have to jump through. And this could be another topic, but thank you, Art.
Well, thanks, Art.
He said, I'm a read only on social stuff. LOL. I respect that.
I respect that a lot, because then you're using your brain rather than somebody else telling you what to feel or how to feel. Another thing I wanted to talk about was narcissism in the workplace. I believe we have all run into narcissism at the workplace. I know I don't work right now. I haven't worked for a while, but I was always one of those dedicated employees. My face is really.
Yeah, we apologize for the change in lighting. But
I was one of those dedicated employees. I've worked, I think I've had 4 jobs since high school. I was in the tool and die industry for a long time, and I got burned out of that when we moved. And we live in a town where jobs aren't real prevalent. But we've all run into the coworkers that'll rat on you, the coworkers that get jealous of you, the coworkers that are that lack empathy, that
I must say, rules for thee, but not for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They'll manipulate you. They'll do all kinds of things to make them look better and you look worse. And my last job was really that bad. You had guys that ran certain areas of the building and they thought they were better than you. And it got to a point where it really started bothering me. And that's where I got the bad taste in my mouth. And I really enjoyed working in tool and die. I'd been it for, I think I've done it for 20 some years. And I got to a point where I really enjoyed it. I was designing things, but sometimes you get a job that just puts a bitter taste in your mouth.
Stick to your stomach.
Yeah. And it just, you don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. If I could have machines in my shed, that would be great. I could operate all day and not have not have to deal with anybody else. The workplace in tool and die is changing. So most people get to work with themselves now, basically.
Roger, amen.
Absolutely.
Workplaces are like middle school.
Absolutely. Can't put it any better than that, Roger. That's a prime example. But we've all dealt with it at the workplace. That's enough. We'll get off of that one. I've just one of the things I wanted to look up, and it's obvious to me, was, has narcissism gotten worse? And I 100% believe it has, because of the internet, of social media. It's we've watched videos where people are eating dinner and some jackass that has a social media page, let's say a TikTok page, goes over and starts bothering these people while they're eating and doing some stupid social media influencer thing. And these people are trying to enjoy their meal. All of this so this person can get clicks and try to get money on. That is like the greatest narcissistic behavior right there. The fact that people want to, to me, make themselves look like idiots and get paid for it, which, a lot of them do, that's a problem we have with society right now. It's there's no empathy. Nobody's looking out for you again. Like, let's say we go to dinner. Now, I'm a different type of person. If somebody if we're having a nice dinner and somebody's, even at 58, if we're having dinner and somebody's doing their Instagram or their YouTube, TikTok, whatever dance by my table, I'm going to let them know they're probably in the wrong spot. And that's luckily where we live, we don't run into that. But it's gotten out of hand. And, if any of you watch, any social media or YouTube, it's all over there. There's videos dedicated to people that just go out and film all these people. And you can just see how bad narcissism is in there. And it gets to a point where, like for us, last couple nights, we've been watching some what are they? The women that think they're better than everybody else or something like that.
Yeah, I can't think right now.
But narcissistic stuff, just so we can get more of of what really goes on out there in the world. And it's just out of control.
It's a lot of times they're the women with very unreasonable expectations for the mate in their life.
I want a man that makes a 6-figure income, works out at the gym, this, that, and the other. Even though I'm 350 pounds, I don't believe in the gym and I eat everything I can. Or first date, the man's supposed to buy me $100 meal, blah, 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 and that kind of stuff. So we watched a lot of that, and to kind of get an idea of the kind of people that are out there.
Yeah.
We don't experience that face to face, but then again, living in a small community, you probably won't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, I'll touch on one more thing, and that's I hit it a little bit before, and that's narcissism in sports. It's at times really bad. I really wish they'd be better role models. I can remember when I played hockey. To me, the biggest part was coming out of the locker room and kids and people coming up asking me to autograph a stick or a poster, and I thought, that was the coolest thing in the world, is these people want my autograph. And I would do everything I could to do benefit stuff, go bowl with the team I played for, bowl, and whatever money's made goes to like cystic fibrosis. That stuff meant a lot to me. Another thing I wanted to talk about with that are the people that like to do things like that, but they like to tell you how much money they raised, or they tell you they do it. Now, I just now told you that I did that stuff, and that was 35, 40 years ago. 40? Yeah, about like that. So, it's different. I don't go around bragging that I do that stuff. I just was telling you that was a fun part of the job. But that's all over. You see that everywhere, and it drives me crazy. Anyway, so that's pretty much what I have, and now I'm just going to interrupt her.
And that's okay. Everybody with your comments, bring it on. And I am going to go over an article real quick, describing some more. And then I'm going to go over what really opened my eyes about this week. Okay. So one, it says this is an article from Marriage Recovery Center. It's about marriage. It often occurs that way with narcissism, but obviously it can be in any subject of life. Right. So this is just an article I picked. It was one of the first ones I saw. But the 3 Ds of narcissism. So there's defensiveness, dismissiveness, and dominance. And defensiveness, major sign that someone may have narcissistic tendencies, is defensiveness. In healthy relationships, people are open to feedback and willing to reflect on their actions. However, when someone is highly defensive, even gentle criticism can feel like an attack to them. I have seen this so many times. And I have struggled with it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to hurt their feelings, or I can't believe their feelings got hurt. I'm like a problem solver. I go through and I'm like, what was wrong? What happened? What can I do different? Or how can I try to help someone? That's the way that I usually address things to begin with. What's that?
I want to touch on Rogers here for a second.
Okay.
Roger Holler said, good people stay good. Fame and fortune magnifies who you really are. I worked for the lottery. It doesn't change you. It reveals you.
That's a great
I couldn't agree more with that, Roger. Mm-hmm. That's well said. Well said for sure.
Yep. And then, so on defensiveness, it says you might notice rationalizing or justifying their behavior when confronted. Again, defensive. Blame shifting, making it seem like everything is your fault. Refusing to engage in open, honest conversations. Okay, those are what they highlight for defensiveness. This, again, is the Marriage Recovery Center, how to tell if someone is a narcissist.
Hi, Jerry.
Next area, the second D, is dismissiveness, invalidating your reality. Dismissiveness can be incredibly damaging because it invalidates your thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Dismissiveness often sounds like you're overreacting, That's not important. I don't see it that way, so it must not be true. Which I don't think anybody has ever actually said that. Must have, but
It's in quotes, so somebody said.
exactly. When someone constantly brushes off your feelings or concerns, it chips away at your self-confidence and can leave you questioning your own reality. And dominance is the third D. Dominance, the need to control. Dominance goes beyond being assertive or confident. It shows up as an overpowering need to control outcomes, people, and situations. This can be subtle or overt, but the result is often the same. You feel like your needs, opinions, and desires don't matter. You might hear phrases like, it's my way or the highway. I'm the one who makes the decisions here. You wouldn't understand, just let me handle it. This is non-negotiable.
See what Sharon said.
Okay, Sharon, you would be shocked if you knew how I'd been treated most of my life by people claiming to love me. Yes. And I have experienced it. The first time I experienced it, I didn't even know it was going on. And that's another reason why I wanted to cover this topic, is because a lot of times in abusive relationships, it starts slow or gradual, like they're not trying to chase you off to begin with. Usually it would be something to talk you, it's a mind control is what it is. And in my previous marriage, we've talked about it. We've talked about our previous relationships, because how do you learn and how do you grow and get over, the things that hurt you in the past? And so Chad was like, oh yeah, he was a narcissist. And back when we were first, together, or the first few years, I'm like, okay, yeah, I've heard that term. It was more like that. It was like, okay, yeah. And that's another reason I want to cover this topic tonight, because it's more prevalent than you would realize. And we don't want anybody to go through this. We are hoping to shed some light to show red flags, basically. Okay. But he's like, he sounds like a narcissist, or he was a narcissist. I'm like, yeah, I've heard that. And then the more we talked about it and the more I learned about narcissism, I'm like, it was like a light went off. I'm like, oh my gosh, the amount and types of control. And it was so gradual. It was so just deceiving, and I truly feel like he had me where he wanted me. And it was such a struggle to break away. But ultimately, I knew in my heart, I got to the point where I was like, I don't care what it takes. I've got to get out of this relationship. I did not care. I just wanted to make it out, and move on. So anyway, now, honey, any you want me to cover on here?
You don't have any right now. Phyllis said, I have been surrounded by narcissistic people my whole life. Finally figured it out.
Exactly, Phyllis. It can be very deceiving or hard to detect, and it's like, I have been a people pleaser most of my life. And since I've been with Chad, he's helped me learn how to stand up for myself and be a stronger person physically and emotionally. And now, with some videos that I watched this week, it was exactly what I needed. And I'm not kidding you. I've had some things recently, I'm like, it speaks exactly what I needed to hear. And so I've gone over that article. So now I'm going to move on to the video. I'll tell you the title of the video, and then I've typed out some of the comments. So it might be paraphrased or it might be a direct quote, but I hope that it resonates with some of you. Do you have any comments you need to highlight?
No. Hi, Burby.
Hey, Verby.
Phyllis,
And
hello.
Hey, Phyllis.
Good to see you, Phyllis.
Yes.
Hope everything's going well with you, dear.
Okay, so I don't know who this person is. I'm pretty sure I've heard the name before, but Mel Robbins. And I was on my way home. I've had a lot of training recently, and I was on my way home from a business trip, and I wanted to look it up. I figured it would be a good use of time, so I started listening to these, and I'm so happy that I did. Okay, so Mel Robbins, one of the two videos that I'm going to talk about tonight. This one, I found it on YouTube, and it's actually called, I just searched for narcissism, but it's called One Sentence That Will Make a Narcissist Fear You Forever. That's not what I was going for. It sounds very dramatic, but it was a very helpful video to listen to. Mel Robbins' Best Motivational Speech is what that was called. But it was saying that narcissists go after the type of person who is empathetic, kind, and self-reflected. And for reasons of control, to make you doubt your own perception. So this can lead to confusion, shame, and isolation. They do not see anything wrong with their actions. They see themselves as always the victim or the hero, never the problem. They treat you poorly, keep you off balance, emotionally reactive, and constantly chasing their approval. She said their criticism isn't truth. They want to keep you off balance, emotionally reactive, and constantly chasing their approval. You don't need to argue or explain yourself. The narcissist is motivated by control, validation, and confusion. And they want to control what you think, feel, and how you react. I've had so many instances in this where I've lived these. Again, it's usually disguised. It's not typically like, oh, this guy's just a jerk all the time, and you're trying to run away from him. It's a matter of breaking you down, is what I've experienced and everything that I've since read about it.
It's kind of like, you could take it to this level, like the CIA trying to break somebody down to make them, since I'm a conspiracy theory guy, how they try to break people down to get them to believe what they want them to believe or to perform an action that they want them to, like a psyop type thing. Mm-hmm. One of the things I wanted to say when you were talking about that is, I know before us, when I was dating, I always thought to myself, why do these women out there, when they talk about their husbands or their boyfriends, it seems like they always find the same type of guy. They go from one abuser or narcissist to another abuser or narcissist. And I came to the conclusion, because that's all they knew. That's and then there's always the person that wants to save that person. You know what I mean? Like, this person's been through hell, I'm going to be the one that saves them. Yeah. But then they just kind of become that on you. Mm-hmm. And I've had that happen to me in a relationship where that person was always abused. They were, mentally, physically, whatever. And they were always talked down to. And then I thought I could save them. Let's date. And then I always considered myself a good person. That's not being narcissistic. That's because nobody's ever said bad things about me, except, of course, an ex-wife. Anyway, so then they start coming that way on you, because that's all they know. They start tearing you down, and then it's just a cycle from there, I think. So avoiding this type of personality is probably the best for everybody. Instead of thinking that you can save somebody, stay away from it. Mm-hmm. They have to save themselves before they can be saved, if you understand what I mean.
And it could be just a role that they're playing as a part of their game.
Yeah, it's a big one too. Yeah.
But what Roger put above that, two above that.
Two above, okay.
Roger said self-confidence is the kryptonite to those people. It took me a while to figure that out. And it took me a while to build self-confidence. I really had to put forth effort, reading books, doing exercises on it. I mean, seriously, I've had to do a lot of work on that. And again, Chad has helped me a lot with that, and I am grateful. But again, it's hard. Oh, and what I was going to say was about, people being in those types of relationships continuously. Maybe that first relationship was horrible. Then the second person that they picked, they weren't as bad, or they didn't seem to have those traits that the previous guy had. And then she thought everything was good, but then he was bad in different ways.
Right.
And this can go either way. I'm not picking male over female. They both can be controlling. That is a fact.
I can guarantee you that.
Either one can tear you down. It doesn't matter the dynamics of the relationship. Anybody is capable of that. So, but, okay. They're motivated by control, validation, and confusion. And this is another reason why I brought up at the beginning of the show being a traumatic brain injury survivor, because certain things don't click in my brain. And that's the way that it's always going to be. I have come very far in 25 years from my terrible memory to where I am now. But certain things may never click. Certain things I need repetition. That's just the way that it is. That's the life I've been dealt. Okay. And I feel like that maybe has played a part in maybe being a victim of this, because they know what they're dealing with, or they know what they see, or they have their eyes on maybe, because if the point is to confuse you.
I would say that's part of it probably, but the fact that you lacked no self-confidence whatsoever was a big, people can pick up on that and try to play the hero that, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? You felt that in one of your relationships that probably the person swooped in and made you feel better than the last one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they played that no self-confidence thing.
Yeah. So, I'm just a very open person, and I feel like that can go against you sometimes.
Hey, Moggs.
Okay. So, they want to control what you think, feel, and how you react. Back on this topic, redirecting conversations to make them the subject of the conversation. This is so annoying.
Yeah.
Because if you're supposed to be, let's say a team player, it can't always be about you if it's supposed to be about the team. People, that is just, yeah. Okay. They'll charm you to keep you close or punish you emotionally when you step out of line. And confusion is their most dangerous tool. They want you to question your memory, your emotions, and your decisions. If you're confused, you're easier to control. That's what Mel Robbins said. Yep. I totally agree.
Absolutely.
And she said this tells them that they have power over you. And they will deny things that they clearly said. I have experienced
that
boy,
you
too.
You see that now in the political world. It's literally everywhere. You're seeing that with in sports, but right now it's big in our political world as far as, it's wrong now, but I said it was okay. And that's how, and it's the same thing in the real world as well. And I say the real world because that's the one we live. The political world's false reality.
Yeah.
But
Here we go. Rules for thee, but
absolutely.
not for me.
Roger says, Heather asked me if she could cut her hair short when we first
Aww.
met. I've never experienced that. I told her, I don't care if you shave it all off. You be you. Roger, that's awesome.
That
Absolutely.
is awesome.
Yep. That's how it should be.
My first boyfriend was very controlling. Very, very controlling. And so that molded me to seek approval for. I don't know why. I have so many stories, and I don't know why I continue to go along with his game. But eventually I broke free, and it taught me a lot. It didn't teach me a ton, but I grew a little stronger.
You know, one of the things I want to say in this is that, you know, I was in a relationship one time where I wanted to be what I thought they wanted me to be. So I was, you know, became a totally different person than who I was. And I would explain that, but let's just say I didn't dress the way I used to dress. I was a punk rocker growing up, and I was changing who I was. And when I changed, I became very unhappy because I couldn't be me anymore. And I think that's partially my fault that I did that. I should have never been that way, and it might have saved a lot of, you know, sadness over the years. But now, you know, this lady right here lets me be whoever I want to be. One of my 12 personalities. But
he does not have multiple personality disorder.
Oh, no. I'm never, well, at least I've never been diagnosed. Anyway,
Stop it.
She's let me be goofy. She's let me, and that's what, like Roger said, you know, I've never been used to that. You know, she's accepted me for who I am and not tried to change me at all. And that's what I tell her every day, you be you. That's how I met you. I don't want you to be anybody else but you. If you decide you want to dye your hair pink or whatever, that's great. There was a time when she was trying to please me, and I said something about getting her nose pierced, and she went and got her nose pierced. And I'm like, why'd you do that? Well, you thought I'd look cute with it. I fell in love with you because you're attractive. I had nothing to do with, you know, you getting your nose pierced, but you did. And, you know, she's past that now. Now she doesn't listen to anything I say. Kidding. But anyway.
Yeah, what Misty said, very true.
Misty says, Erica, I experienced that also. I wasn't myself because of them. It was horrible at the stories I have. But when you find someone who treats you like you should be, it changes your whole world. And that's what everybody needs. And I'm sure by our age now, we've all found that or looking for that, or we're not looking for that, because that's how I found her, is I just stopped looking.
Yeah. And I love Misty. She is one of the most creative people I've ever known, and I love it. She's very, to me, she exudes confidence. I think she is so awesome and just really one of the coolest women I've ever known. So I'm glad that you are where you are today. I'm going to go on to the next video, and it's also a Mel Robbins video and on YouTube. The last one, for everybody who came in a little later, it was a Mel Robbins video on YouTube called One Sentence That Will Make a Narcissist Fear You Forever. Okay, the next one, and this is the only other one that I have, called The Smartest Way to Deal with Toxic People. Mel Robbins motivational speech. This is dealing with toxic people. She said, dealing with toxic people, it's not about them, it's about you. Stop being available for their poison. They don't have real power. They live for the moment you snap, break down, or second guess yourself.
And that's when they swoop in and act like they're the savior. When you break down, here they are. Oh, it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. I'm here for you if you need me.
Again, we're not professionals, but having lived through some of these things, it's building you up and tearing you down is what a lot of it is. They are molding you. Okay. They feed on your frustration, your anger, your confusion. The second you give them a reaction, they win. And this I've experienced. And this, again, was like, I've had experience recently in that. Okay. They will test you. They will say things just to get under your skin. They will push every button you have because they are addicted to control.
Yeah.
They manipulate, they guilt trip, they twist reality. They want you so emotional, so flustered, so lost into their chaos that you can't see the truth. They are powerless without your response. The moment you stop reacting, you become untouchable. Without your reaction, they are nothing. Toxic people keep escalating when you stay calm.
Yep.
You don't fight back. You don't explain yourself. You don't defend yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. And I love that statement. I've had the most narcissistic, most recent narcissistic interactions I've had. It is this constant, they want you to explain yourself, want you to explain yourself, want you to explain yourself. And then they'll question you and they'll try to confuse you. And it is a mind game. Okay. So I'm going to repeat that statement because it's so awesome. You don't defend yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. I've had this with other people too. And they refuse to give you the most basic respect, the most basic information about you. They act like they forget every time they're around you. That's just unacceptable. Okay. Back onto the video. They can't handle their own emptiness or toxicity is what the issue ends up being. That's why they're attempting to keep control of you.
Well, and the mental part of that is they can't see it. They'll never see it. They'll never
that
see
they have a problem.
that they have a problem.
Yeah.
No, it's we've run into so many people over the years. I can say I won't say 58 years because I wasn't, I didn't really look at relationships or people until I was probably 14, 15 years old. But in all of that time, I saw all that and people that didn't realize that how they were acting and the type of person they were,
I wonder about that. And, we obviously aren't the professionals in the field. It makes me curious on at what point would they seek guidance or assistance or counseling? At what point would it, obviously, if it was something like divorce or whatever, but just out of curiosity in my own head, I feel like it's probably a very small percentage that they would seek help on their own. I don't know. I think a lot of people, it would take a very dramatic issue or multiple people saying, I can't be around you anymore, something dramatic to where they would seek.
Well, I think a lot of people, when you get older, they lose friends because their friends have gotten onto that person and what kind of person they truly are. And they just stop hanging out with them or doing things with them. When we get older, we really take a look at that. What kind of drama do we want in our life?
Mm-hmm.
And most of us don't want any drama in our life. And, I've had, I can't tell you the kind of drama. I'm not talking about, just exes. And I say exes plural. Yeah. But people I've dated, friends I've had, you get to a point where I don't want to associate with that anymore. I just don't want to be a part of a possible headache. There was a time, I don't know what movie. Oh, it was in the movie last night, Sling Blade, when Dwight Yoakam's character, they were the band on the back porch.
Oh yeah.
He wanted to go down there and he was inviting
Carl
and the other guy,
Vaughn.
to go out with them. And when I was young, I would have done that with, I'd have been like, let's go, you know, they want me to go, let's go.
Oh yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I'd be like, you guys go have fun. I'm fine here sitting on my ass doing nothing. I don't need to go get something that's probably going to cause me drama, something that's going to give me a headache or whatever, you know. It just, you know, friends wanting you to stay out late. That just something I got to a point where like, guys, I got to work in the morning. I don't like this 3 o'clock in the morning and then getting up at 5 o'clock and then going to work. I can't do this anymore. And I've just decided to, you know, there was an age where I just decided to flip the switch, and I guess I don't need to hang out with anybody. You know?
Oh yeah.
I don't need that lifestyle.
Hey, Catherine. I just have a couple more points on here. Again, this is paraphrasing from her video, maybe some direct quotes, but the strongest person in the room is not the one yelling. And I think that statement a lot of people would need to hear, or could be help them break from that. You know, I feel like that's a statement that makes an impact. One weapon is your reaction. They can't do anything to you unless you let them in your brain or let them in your head. And then toxic people are like a virus, but a virus can only attack a weakened immune system. So I hope, you know, the best for everybody. I hope that everybody can, you know, find the strength to stand up for themselves. And it's just hard being in a relationship like that that's so manipulative. Yeah. Because a lot of people lie. A lot of people, you know, that one trying to gain control, you know, they're going to bend the truth. They're going to make it seem like not really a big deal. But it could be affecting you in so many different ways. You know, they do the you know, oh, you're so beautiful, and then tear you down and then pick you back up again and tear you. It's a constant. Yeah. Or like, hit you or tear you down. And then Thursday buy you flowers and they're going to act like everything's good. Right. No. Right. And that's, you know, with some of the things I talked about, like, let's go with the community that we're all in the cryptid area. You know, there's people out there that are tearing other people down. And why? You know, we're all in this for the same reason. And there's other websites out there that are ridiculing other websites. For what reason? It really makes no sense, because we're all in this game together. And it's like that. It should be like that when you're at work. You should be a unit and work together. But you have that problem at work as well, that you have some people that want to be, you know, the troublemakers that want to throw you under the bus anytime. And, you know, like I said earlier, you run into this everywhere, that these people aren't out for your best interest. You know, they're out just to make them feel better about themselves and not, you know. Don't you find something else I missed? Oh, keep going. Oh. And I just, you know, I got to a point in life where I caught up with that and realized that I didn't need to put up with that. And I hope everybody else has. I hope we're all to that point now. We don't need to work a job where we're torn down all the time. Life's too short for that. Life needs to be nice and relaxing, and you know, I know paying bills isn't the greatest, and then, well, it isn't great at all. But all these things that we have to do, that are bad in our life, we shouldn't have to deal with, you know, a spouse that's treating us like shit. I'll say it, or you know, a boss that treats us like it. That kind of stuff. We need to step back and realize you are here once on this planet, in this lifetime. I won't go after that. It's a whole nother conspiracy theory, but we're here once in this lifetime, and you need to enjoy your life. And having others ridicule you, to try to control you, to downgrade you as much as possible so that they can feel powerful, you got to step out of that. And I know it's hard. I really do. Mm-hmm. I kept falling for the same type of people in the dating world that were, you know, the wrong ones for me. And I would deal with a headache. I would deal with staying up late at night. I would deal with their
drunken tirades where they're
cleaning up after them.
It just got to a point where I'm done. I wasn't enjoying life. And you have to enjoy life.
Because those people seek someone to save them. Hold on. Don't.
Okay.
They seek that type of person who is going to take care of them, or who is going to focus on them and continue to build them and their ego. I wanted to bring attention to Phyllis. She said, my sister is 67 and has never been wrong. So she can relate to.
I've known lots of people that way too, Phyllis.
Yeah. And then her comment here, I have nothing to do with my family anymore because when I quit being a doormat, they attacked me.
Good for you, Phyllis. Yes. I hate to hear that, but good for you. I mean, that's how, you feel, you've got John now. You guys are so much, you're so happy. You guys, good for you.
Yeah. Y'all are winning.
Yeah.
Misty, it was always cheating, lying, controlling, manipulating, accusing, and physical with us. He had me where I didn't enjoy my family, friends, or anything. That's no way to have to live.
Absolutely.
Like Chad was just talking about it. We really hope that nobody has to go through that. Unfortunately, it exists, but we've
also run into those people that yell at each other all the time and bicker, and they're happy together. They love each other. That's just something that I guess they get into. I've known couples like that have been married 40 years, that just, you're like, how are they married? They don't talk well of each other. But it is what it is, I guess.
An awesome comment. Moggs and Stevie B are going to Flat Rocks.
Yeah, Alabama. That's awesome.
Hey,
I'm jelly.
Yeah. Have
a safe trip.
I hope it's what you're looking for.
Have a safe trip. And I'm telling you what, the things I hear coming out of Flat Rocks, I can't wait to go down someday.
They're going to spend the week there.
All right.
That's awesome. Yep. Stay safe. We've heard there's a lot of activity there. So
yeah.
All right. We're caught up on comments.
Okay.
So that's everything I wanted to discuss. It really did leave an impact on me. That's why I wanted to share those videos, just some comments from those videos. They're like about 15-minute videos, but it was Mel Robbins on YouTube. And they made an impact on me. And I felt like I could watch them or listen to them over and over again to kind of remember more of her comments. But they were powerful.
Something I started doing lately is listening to, I went on YouTube and looked up warrior stuff. And the reason I looked that up is like verbal affirmation. Like you are the best you can be the best you can be. You're a champion, kind of stuff that makes you feel more positive about yourself. Now, it's not going to make me a narcissist, because I'm a person that you can ask her. I don't talk highly of myself. I don't take compliments well at all, because I like to give that stuff. I've never been comfortable receiving as much as I love to tell people, or, like today we went to lunch, and there were some people, the guy had a Kentucky shirt on. So, I asked him, what brings you to this part of Tennessee? And they were on their way back from Florida. And I started carrying on a conversation just because I like to meet people. I like to learn about them. And that was something that both of us have overcome, because we both talk about how shy we were in high school. When I was in high school, I can tell you a funny story. I was right out of high school, and at that age, we could drink at 18, 3-2 beer, I think it was, or something like that. But I remember going to a bar, and I saw what I thought was the most beautiful woman. I mean, she had long, this is the 80s, long, high, curly hair, blue eyes, wearing like yoga pants nowadays. And my buddies were all like, you need to go talk to her, go say hi to her. And I can remember this exactly how I walked up. And I walked up to her and I went, and that's how shy I was. I could not talk to women at all. And then, you know, it was really no better the rest of my life. I'd go for a job interview and I would get to the door and turn around and walk away just because I was that shy. And then it came to a point where my old man said, I'm going to kick you out if you don't get a job. So I was like, okay, better overcome the shyness in that area. So, you know, you grow, you become a different person than you were. You learn that hopefully after a while you can deal with ridicule. You know, I know people, even this show, I watch these shows back, you know, the next day, and I look at the way I talk and how I miss words or I forget things. And I know there's probably people out there that'll criticize that, but you know what? I don't care. You know, I'm my own worst critic, and I'm okay with that. I've got my best person that makes me feel the best next to me all the time. So when I'm tearing myself down, she's lifting me up, which is kind of the way it's supposed to work. I would love to be a very confident person, but I wasn't raised in a confident lifestyle. You know, I was raised in a very negative, nice lifestyle. So when I started accomplishing things and getting recognition for some of the things I accomplished, I really felt good about myself. But by far and away, did I ever think I was better than anybody else? Because I look at it, and it was sports. If I was better than everybody else, I would be all over the news and all over this, that, and the other. And quite frankly, I don't know if I'd ever want to be there because it's just nonstop hell for you then, you know?
We're getting a lot of.
Oh, sorry, you want to take over now?
Oh no, you're fine. I just thought you had stopped. We're getting a lot of, you know, we should do a show on like confidence because we're getting a lot of input, and Chad and I can both relate. Hold on. I'm sorry to hear that, Sharon. You're definitely not alone. So
yeah, definitely not alone. I'm right there with you, dear.
And Verby said, I've always been the caretaker too, Chad, and it's hard for me to accept any help or a compliment.
You know, the greatest compliment to me, Verby, is when somebody smiles. That's what I want to see from people. If I can do something that makes somebody smile, that makes my day.
That's funny that you said that because the next comment was Misty. She said, Sharon, you have such a beautiful smile and are such a sweet, beautiful woman. You need to share that with the world.
Absolutely. And this is coming from a guy that for the not first half of my life, but there was a quarter of my life where I loved to be violent. And I loved to kind of express myself that way. And now I'm at a point where, to me, I don't have to do this. I just want to see people smile. I want to see people be happy. And that's what makes me happy. It's filled a spot that maybe was missing from my childhood or from my teenhood. That for me, my recognition was, you know, don't make this guy angry. He's going to whatever, you know, to, hey, go talk to Chad. He'll make you laugh and smile. And that was way better to me than waking up with swollen knuckles or black eye or whatever. You know, if I can make somebody smile rather than you know, my mom could probably tell you stories about coming home at 2:00 in the morning with knots on my head and, you know, broken nose or whatever. And she's like, what happened tonight, you know? But that's just how I was growing up. And it's so much better being where I am now, where I don't have to be that way. That me, it's seeing people show up here and expressing themselves to us, to seeing you guys at meet and greets and everybody getting to know each other and smiling. Well, oh my gosh, hey, there's Verby, there's, you know, there's so and so. It's really, that's what makes makes me happy. Mm-hmm. I'm a simple man. I really am.
And Phyllis, I think we can both relate to this. Phyllis says, me too, Verby. I'm the first one to help, but can't ask for help. And I'll say
that's some good stories.
That's been me a lot, but I almost got written up for that. So I've had to change that in the last few months. Okay.
Mac has one, or Brian has one coming up. It's further down.
Well, hey, Carmen.
Welcome, Carmen. Oh, okay.
Carmen, she was raised with a narcissist. I don't know any different, and that definitely can can happen, or is common, I should say. I walked away from a lot of family members. I'm sure you have your reasons, and I hope
And I'm
that,
sorry you had to do that.
unfortunately, I hope that's been a better move for you. Absolutely. A smile does lots of goodness for the giver and the acceptor.
Absolutely.
Always smile.
That's one thing that I love about her is when she smiles, it's a big smile. See?
I
See
can't.
that? See that?
I can't help it, but I have stories about that too. Different show. Okay. And Blackie. Blackie would go to a fight just to see the hockey game break out. What was that penalty minutes last night on that game?
Oh yeah. Well, that's
300.
322 penalty minutes in that game. Still wasn't like old time hockey, but where is the right on Brian LeGrand there?
Okay.
Or LeGard, excuse me. Hold a door open for someone when you have the chance. It'll make, you know what, brother? I do that as I go out of my way to open a door for, I won't for an elder, for any woman. I mean, I think that should be, but I try to do it all the time for her. Open car door, still have some of that, what men are supposed to be like. Yes, we're warriors, but we're also supposed to treat our women with respect and kindness, no matter who they are. A good woman can change you, Chad, not by force, but make you. Yeah, absolutely. That's what she's done to me.
I feel like, well, what Roger said, I feel like, well, I always want the good to multiply. So if I always encourage good behavior and positive behavior. And I feel like if I make somebody feel good, then that makes me want to be, more.
The problem she has is not really a problem. The problem she has is when everybody says that, Erica, your smile lights up a room, or, your laugh, everybody knows your laugh. And she's like, oh, she gets that shy. She can't handle the compliment, because I'll tell her that stuff and she'll be like, oh, come on, well, not to that. Like, ooh. She's not Eeyore, but
oh, shucks.
Oh, shucks.
Phyllis, I had a lady buy me flowers at the grocery store because I was the only one that smiled.
Oh, that's awesome, Phyllis. It's sad, but it's awesome.
And I mean, it was sweet.
Art, love Erica's laugh. Oh,
thank you.
Yes, she does. She smiles all over. Let's see. Roger says, I started opening doors for people at work. I slowly changed the culture. In a few months, everybody was opening doors for each other.
I love that.
Absolutely, Roger, I love that. I knew there was a reason I really liked Roger. But that's very true. I mean, if you start off doing something, other people will see you doing. I watched a show the other day on that, and it had to do with door opening. I think it was. Like guys were just walking in before their women, like just walking in ahead of, like I would walk in a door and just, let it close behind me, or I might hold the door open for her. I don't do that. Okay. Door is always open for her. I'm old school that way, but I watched a show where they did this, and it was like a social experiment where they would open, if the guy would walk in and the lady would walk in, the next would do the same thing. Then they changed it where the guy would hold the door for the woman would walk in, the next guy held the door for the woman, and then everybody started doing that started coming in, because it started kind of catching on. And that's, unfortunately it has to be done that way. It should never have changed. But, it happens in different areas. What I've noticed in the area we live in a small country town, is there are more manners here than there ever was when I was in Dayton, Ohio. The kids here are thank you, you're welcome, please. You would run into that in Dayton, but not so many as much. And there's probably a lot of different reasons for that, but yeah.
Thank you, Catherine.
Oh, let's put that up on the board.
And then
we get a Carmen again.
Carmen, thank you for your input. We're glad that you've been here this evening.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah. Good job, Brian.
Unfortunately, that has to happen.
Well,
they say family is blood, but it goes way further than that.
Right.
Sometimes family can be the worst thing in your life.
It can be a very negative influence, or just a downer, depending on how they treat you. But I'm so glad that you've had Brian to help you. He's been your knight in shining armor, I guess. Thank you, Carmen.
Smile, honey. And then Max says he always holds doors for folks, especially the elderly. Yep. I'll trip over tables to open the door for somebody if I see an older lady with a bag in her hand or something, I'll trip over. She does too.
Yeah. Or disabled. Yep. I'm right there as soon as I can be.
And that's how we should be, everybody. This world would be a better place if we just kind of went back to the old school and how the men treated women. Well, I won't say treated women, because I've heard a lot of stories about some of my ancestors and things like that. But, if we just respected each other, we're at a point now where we don't, and we can't. I won't say we can't, but there are forces keeping us from respecting each other. Yeah. Okay, Jeff, let's touch on this one. I've gotten trouble opening doors for people. No, I've seen that.
Yeah. I've gotten sarcastic comments or, ugh.
And if you open the door for somebody and they don't say thank you, don't let that bother you. You did what you were supposed to do. If they don't say thank you, then they were raised poorly.
That's what I feel like.
And yes, an old school rocks. That's for sure. That's for sure. Let's see what else we got here. This is what we call the after show. I mean, we're still kind of talking about it stuff, but we love. This is just talking about things that we need to talk about. Catherine, I thought that some younger people never had anyone to teach them. Absolutely, Roger. Mm-hmm. I'll agree with you there. Mm-hmm. When you look at the generations coming up, that again, I watch all these YouTube videos and where you talked about entitlement. You see that with a lot of kids that are entitled. They don't give a shit about anybody except themselves. And you can forget about the door opening and doing things for others. It's all about them. It's how can they make money? It's how can I
need more views.
I need more followers. I need more views. Yeah, exactly. And that's where I say social media has really screwed up a lot of people because of it. And I think that's what they want. Here's the conspiracy side again. I think that's what social media was created for, because it's an easy way to manipulate people and tear them apart. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I should say that aloud. Brian and some of our friends are only kids, and they say it, and they don't understand why parents are that way. Well, that's, not around it. And then Phyllis said what I said. My family is who I pick, not blood.
Yes. It's been such an amazing feeling that we've had when we've gone to the Bigfoot meet and greets. I mean, truly, we've felt more comfortable than a lot of friends and family that we've had for years. So I do definitely believe that. I know the feeling of that statement.
Yeah, I had a family that one side was fairly close and the other side wasn't. It was one of those ones that you knew there was going to be a little, and there was no alcohol involved or anything like that, but you knew there was going to be a political talk going on, and ding, 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 ding. Time for everybody to just, in the words in hockey, it was drop the mitts and let's go. It's just how it got. I mean, and I was probably 16, 17, 18 at the time, so I could drive. And my mom would be like, hey, we're going to go over to your grandparents. I'd really like you to be there, but I understand if you don't want to go. And that's where it got to. I mean, I just didn't want to be involved in that stuff. And, when it's your family, you really don't want to be involved. I've had friends that were getting married and there was a brawl broke out at their wedding. And it doesn't need to be that way. And, I feel that we're surrounding ourselves with people now that, especially since our move, we've got a lot of good friends still back up in Ohio that we miss. If any of you are listening, we miss you guys, but we have made so many, through this channel, through Old Line, through Beards and Boogers, through Woodwalkers, through all these different podcasts we've been through. I met all these different exceptional people, and that's made this whole thing worth it for us.
Oh, yeah.
So, the topic tonight was because I know there's some stuff going on Facebook that doesn't need to be happening. And if you're ever involved in somebody ripping you apart on social media or whatever, get them off, unfriend them, stop following them. There's no reason for anything like this to bring you down. It's somebody else's opinion of you.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel that obligation,
right,
for whatever reason. We try to just keep things positive.
Don't let this thing control your life. Meaning, what people say about you online should have no merit. Most of these people don't even know the person you are. And a lot of people let that bother them. And it is what it is, I guess. I don't care. Anyway, let's go through here one more time and see what we got. Yes, and that's kind of what I was trying to say earlier. Sometimes the parents weren't taught by their parents, so there's no fundamental enforcement to pass on to their children, and that is 100% correct. That is, I agree with you 100%. I'm sorry, I was laughing at something else, not what you said, Mac, but what this guy here said. Is that AI bag? Actually, it is, Roger. It's a green screen. Yeah, it's a green screen. Watch.
Just the usual.
Watch this. You watch it bend. Oh, my bad. No, it's real. It's real. Roger's always got to be a punk.
There's Leanne.
Hi, Leanne. What she's right here. Well, yeah, I got to be so great. I can't almost see what Barry just said, so I got to hop on here. Well, we love you, Leanne. Aw. See, it's such a great group of people.
Yep.
Luckily, we haven't gotten any trolls on here yet, and I hope to keep it small enough that we don't get any trolls on here.
We're also going to try our best to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, I probably should put a few more more mods.
Sorry.
What did Roger say this time?
He's just silly. He said sorry. I wish we had analog phones and pagers sometimes. I know, Brian. I just feel like it's, because a lot of the YouTube videos that we watch, whatever they are, it's the reactions and it's the you're not in, like, they're filming everything.
Yeah.
And it's so much. One of my pet peeves is an emergency situation, and if you can't help, I feel like you need to get out of the way. These people, responders, need room. They don't need nosy people all up in their business. Like, you're really doing a disservice by getting in the way. But, we'll see videos of somebody gets hurt somehow, hits the ground, whatever it is, and then you got 16 people filming with their phone.
They should all be charged.
Yes. That's a problem.
Greg House sent me a video today, and it was about an area in West Virginia, the quiet zone. There are 2 giant swivel satellites there, and you're not allowed to have any electronic devices, cell phones. None of them work. They shut it all down there so that they can pick up readings from the sky and there's no interference or anything. And listening to these people in this town talk was really, they go out of town to use the internet, or some of them cheat. They said there are some people that lie there, but that's pretty cool to live somewhere where you don't have, if you had the capability, say like you lived out in the middle of nowhere and you had a ham radio, that would be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
because then you could still get a hold of people in an emergency situation.
Right.
And you would be the first person to probably know if there was an emergency situation. But yeah, there are places that people decide not to use those cell phones, and I can remember the pagers. I never got to own a pager or a beeper. Well, same thing, but I never got to own any of that stuff.
Yeah. Or the Zach Morris brick cell phone.
Big brick cell phone. But I find we're looking for our cabin. We're looking for a.
One of those.
I think they called them candlestick phones. So not that we'll use
or
it.
Something like that, just for a decoration.
It's just for a decoration. But we've got a bunch of old antique stores around here, and we found a couple. Not exactly one. Most of them are wall mounted ones, and we don't want the wall mounted. We want just one that sits on a. I don't really like putting holes in my walls.
Roger, exactly.
Good, yeah. I remember you telling me about that. Yep. But that's where our society's gotten. They think that, and it's sad because if you have good footage of something like that, the media will buy your footage. And that's what's really ridiculous.
Michael X.
Here?
Yes. They were a little before my time.
Yeah.
But that was what I had gathered from things I had heard about that. And then Catherine, no, we haven't had any. Bigfoot seems to be a big belief, if you want to say, around here, because we saw when we moved to this area, we had never seen an area filled with Bigfoot statues or signs. But we moved here, and then it was after that we met Roger and Greg and became part of this community. So it all kind of fell into place. But no, we haven't had, we have not had an experience here.
It's funny, whoever said that, Michael said that, the pager thing, and everybody I knew in high school that had a pager was a druggie, or drug dealer. Not that was the crowd that I hung out with. I'm not saying that at all. So yeah, well, and we also live by two giant state forests, and I'm talking our Big South Fork is one near us. It's about what? It's about an hour away. It is actually, I believe, part of the continuation of Daniel Boone. Pickett might be the same thing, but they might be continuations of Daniel Boone. Once you cross over into Kentucky, it becomes Daniel Boone National Forest. So yeah, there's even one of the antique stores we went to, the gentleman, of all the posters and signs this guy had all over, and railroad signs and everything, right up on his front desk, there were two Bigfoot stickers. There was a Bigfoot sign and a Bigfoot sticker. And I always want to ask these people, do you believe in it, or have you seen it? In fact, we went and saw some people the other day, or a couple of weeks ago. We talked a little bit about on here that were into the crystals and everything. And we got, I put my feet in this giant bowl, and they did the bowl, around, and the vibration was crazy. But she sent me a picture of somebody she knew had taken a picture of their woods, their mountain, where they had a footprint, and it was huge footprint. And I said, "Do you believe in that?" She said, "I believe in the mountain people." So, that was further over towards the other part of Middle Tennessee. So closer to El Rogers' house. But yeah, it's we don't. We're still a little too isolated. I wouldn't say we're isolated, not isolated, but populated here. We have a street in front of us, dead end. But we do have probably 10 acre, not that much, probably 6-7 acres behind us. And then there's woods all around there. But no, we've had no Bigfoot activity. Just we've had dog activity. Lots and lots of dog activity. Every day, yeah. Usually there's a certain time where somebody flips the switch and every dog in the neighborhood starts barking.
Yeah, Leanne, we actually, we have a few Bigfoot shirts, but we haven't had anybody, bring up the topic when we've worn ours.
We asked one person about, because I felt we were in the same county, and we went to eat somewhere, and we asked somebody if they had ever seen a Bigfoot or anything odd, and they said that their husband had seen a giant, and somebody had talked about this on one of the shows, a giant black cat. Now, bigger, he described it as bigger than, a panther. It was bigger than that. It jumped from one side of the road to the other.
It was black, didn't they say it was
It
black?
was black. And I asked, if they'd ever seen it again. They only saw it once. So, it could be, which they're not supposed to be around here either. But, that was one of the things. And we haven't gotten around to, I told her I'd love to get in a vehicle someday. And somebody's having a fire, I guess. Hope. Love to get in a vehicle someday and drive up some driveways with these signs, these people that have all these big signs, and ask them about it. But I also know where I live, and I'm smart enough not to drive up somebody's driveway without, maybe getting a hold of them first. But anyway, let me see where we're at here and see if where are we at? Hour and a half? Okay. The best stories I'm wearing. Oh, yeah. I've had people ask me about my shirts before. I've got one that's got Mothman, Bigfoot, Loch Ness, Chupacabra, the Jackalope, I can't remember what the ones, it's like two legs walking. Can't remember what it's called. But they asked me if I believe in that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'll believe it. Sure. Why wouldn't I? Why would you disbelieve it?
Leanne, that's cool. I'm not talking about the subject anymore, and we need to wrap it up.
Okay.
I got to work tomorrow.
Okay.
But Leanne, I know you missed it, but you might find an interest. There were 2 videos I talked about, and they're by Mel Robbins, and it's on YouTube. The first, really, if you just search on YouTube for narcissist or narcissism, but the one was 1 sentence that will make a narcissist fear you forever. And the other was the smartest way to deal with toxic people, both by Mel Robbins, which I felt were very helpful and very informative. So I know you came in at the end. But anyhow,
well,
I hope everybody has a great rest of your evening. We should be here next Sunday. So we don't know the topic yet, but that will be Sunday the 12th.
And some of you are great at giving us ideas for topics, but some of these topics need weeks to really get in depth on. And, we like to do a show every week. So it's, we're trying to do the best we can, 2 people, and we'll figure out what we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be,
we pretty much just talk about things that are us, or things that we want to positively bring light to. So,
right. And then have fun in conversation with you guys.
Yep. We definitely enjoy your company.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, appreciate it. And thanks for being here. Yes, the Fresno Nightcrawler. Thank you, Michael. That's it.
Wow.
Yep. He's on it. That's the only one I can never name on my shirt, and I've seen the videos and everything.
Oh, wow.
So,
Thank
but anyway,
you, man. We love you too.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for being here, moderators. Thank you again.
Thank you.
We can't tell you enough how much this means to us that you guys show up and join in our conversation and just listen to me ramble sometimes. And
thanks, Bert.
Yeah. And we hope to see you next Sunday. Be good to each other. Love each other. Stay frosty. Keep an eye on when you're out in public. And we love you guys.
Yeah, love you guys. Thanks again.
And until next time, catch you later.
See ya.